My story starts less than 2 years ago when I was paralyzed from the neck down and told I would likely never walk again. I grew up with scoliosis, which is also considered curvature of the spine. After years of worsening pain, I found a surgeon who was willing and able to operate to fix my S-curve and straighten my spine. On September 7th, 2021, I endured a 9-hour back surgery. Doctors would refer to it as a successful spinal fusion surgery, complete with cadaver bone, donated tissue, 2 titanium rods, and a large handful of screws. I knew it was a tough road to recovery, but I had no idea of the journey that laid ahead of me. I went home 4 days after surgery and quickly became more and more uncomfortable. The adjustment to having metal in my back was expected, but the other problems crept to the surface. Digestion issues, increasing weakness in my limbs, and severe pain that would bring me to tears. After 3 trips to the emergency room, I was admitted to a nearby hospital when they discovered I had severely low sodium, but they struggled to figure out what else was wrong with me. I had walked with my walker into that hospital, and little did I know that would be the last time I'd walk for a while. On the second day of being hospitalized, my feet and legs had increasingly grown more tingly and numb until they were completely paralyzed. On the third day, my hands and arms became tingly and numb until I could no longer use my arms either. By the 4th day, my vocal cords had become paralyzed. I was able to merely whisper. My pain was so intense throughout my body that I mostly slept as a response to the pain meds and the mess that was happening inside of me. Let me tell you, I have never felt more helpless in my entire life. On the 6th day, I was transferred by ambulance to a larger hospital in Indianapolis. Every single doctor that entered the room held their hand below my feet and asked me to step on the gas. Nothing. After a myriad of tests, including a lumbar puncture, this team of doctors were finally able to confirm a diagnosis. It wasn't until I was paralyzed from my neck down to my toes that they diagnosed me with Guillain-Barré syndrome, otherwise referred to as GBS, and it's sometimes pronounced as Guillain-Barré syndrome. GBS is an incredibly rare neurological disorder in which the body's immune system attacks the nerves. This causes muscle weakness and paralysis, which can range from mild to severe. It is estimated that about 1 in 100,000 people will develop it each year. The exact cause of GBS is unknown, but it's often triggered by an infection, is linked to a vaccination, or it can sometimes occur after surgeries. In Guillain-Barré patients, their nerves are fried, and nerves regenerate at 1 inch per month. And there is almost 45 miles of nerves in the adult human body. There's no known cure, but there are treatments that can sometimes help in recovery. I had 5 rounds of plasmapheresis while in the ICU for 3 weeks. These were the big guns, but my body was not responding as the doctors had hoped. My shoulders and arms began to show some response to the treatments with little movement. My legs and feet, they weren't moving at all. I believe if I had my diagnosis a few days earlier, I would have received treatment sooner, then my recovery might have been a hell of a lot easier. You have no idea how hopeless I felt to have doctor after doctor come into the exam room and ask me to step on the gas. All the while, I stared down at my right foot, and there was no movement. The doctor would then hold their hand underneath my left foot and ask me again to step on the gas. Once again, and no matter how much my brain willed my foot to move, the message being sent was not being received. As the doctor shared my diagnosis, they expressed their dim outlook for my future. GBS can cause permanent nerve damage, which can lead to continued weakness, numbness, and tingling, long-term paralysis, severe fatigue, and even death. One doctor ended his spiel with a very blunt, harsh statement: "I may never walk again." His words echoed in my ears. Certainly, he was wrong. Certainly, he had never met me. Certainly, he didn't know the passion and drive that I possessed. A couple of days later, something inside of me snapped. I would walk again. I would fight whatever GBS wanted to throw at me, and I would prove this doctor and his team wrong. Thank you. This fight began with 69 days in the hospital, working to regain some strength and complete simple tasks that I took for granted. I learned how to brush my teeth again. I learned how to get in and out of a car with a transfer board from my electric wheelchair. I learned how to dress myself again. And that, my friends, was huge. As remember, I not only had mobility and strength issues, but I was still recovering from major back surgery with 2 titanium rods, screws in my hips and up my spine, and thus now preventing me from even bending over to put on my own socks. When my physical therapist and team put me in the solo step overhead track and harness system, I was terrified of falling. They wanted to remind my legs what it felt like to stand again and to ignite the muscle memory. They moved my legs as if I was walking, but I wasn't the one moving them. It was the strangest feeling to not be in control of my own body. This was my daily ritual until I was able to bear weight without collapsing like a bowl of Jell-O. I learned how to take a mere 4 steps from one bright yellow line of tape to the next with assistance and a walker. I couldn't even feel the floor beneath my feet. I still can't. Was all of that yellow tape a sign for me to proceed with caution? That's a sign. Those were the longest days of my life, being in that rehabilitation hospital, away from my supportive and loving husband, away from my incredibly compassionate daughters, away from my job, away from my home, entirely away from my life. It's amazing how much you reassess what's important in life when tragedy strikes. When I asked to go home, rather than the suggested long-term nursing care facility, my rehab hospital care team fought my decision, but I won. Well, kind of. I came home in an electric wheelchair right before Thanksgiving. I truly had so much to be thankful for. I had a loaner wheelchair until my insurance would approve one to be built for me. I look back at this tired old wheelchair that moved so cumbersomely around my house and went less than 1 mile per hour as a total and complete blessing. I knew that I had to do more. I had to push myself even harder as I felt I could not rely on this old chair. So I did. Each day, I gave it more and more to walk again. I kept stepping on the gas, little by little. I have worked and continue to work incredibly hard on my journey to healing. I still struggle with balance, hence the stool, fatigue, muscle weakness, and grip strength challenges with my hands. And like I said earlier, I cannot feel the floor beneath my feet. But hey, look at me today. My amazing physical therapist and occupational therapists that have worked with me for over 20 months now were incredibly impactful on my journey, and I am forever grateful. My awesome doctors have been incredibly instrumental in leading me back to health, both mentally and physically. My tenacious and loving husband, Matthew, worked full-time, then every single evening, he would come to the rehab hospital and assist me in a nightly routine. He would move my legs, completing 6 pages, front and back, of leg exercises every single night. He would assist me in getting the 13 pillows that I slept on all prepped for me, as GBS causes severe nerve pain. He has been present for every step of the way on this journey, and I am forever grateful. Our oldest daughter, Hannah, temporarily moved home when I was hospitalized. She was blessed to be able to work remotely, help love on our 2 small dogs, my husband, and our home. She visited me most days while working full-time, pursuing a master's degree and teaching piano. Whew, I get tired just saying all of that she had going on in her world. Nonetheless, she showed up and brought smile after smile to encourage me on this crazy journey, and she still does. She would cook sometimes and bring me delicious meals, which made the hospital food taste like what I presumed jail food would taste like. Our youngest daughter, Karleigh, was a student at Purdue, pursuing a degree in athletic training. She's now a grad student at Duke University, pursuing a doctorate of physical therapy. Her education and background training has been instrumental in my physical healing. Karleigh would help figure out ways for me to accomplish things that I was struggling to do in our home. She, too, has always encouraged me. Her phone calls and constant check-ins were just what the doctor ordered. As you can tell, my family means everything to me. They are my rocks, they're my driving force, they're the loves of my life. I would do anything for the 3 of them. You see, I always thought myself as being the glue. Their leader, their source of strength, their organizer, the supporter, and the encourager. Never did I think that I would need all of this from them. These 3 people banded together and became all I needed, and then some. I was also blessed to be raised by an incredible mom who has passed away. She was dedicated, independent, compassionate, and a single mother. She fought so hard throughout life. She was a school teacher, and she taught me valuable lessons never learned from a textbook. She single-handedly instilled in me the equal desire to work hard and not give up. And to those lessons, I am forever grateful. Ultimately, without my incredible faith, I would not be where I am today. God has taken my hand and allowed me to step on the gas daily. I've achieved many goals throughout my life, and I'm here tonight to achieve another. to help all of you realize the profound importance of facing every obstacle with an unwaveringly positive mindset. The key to my healing journey was rooted deep within my mind, where I clung tightly to the power of optimism propelling me forward, despite the challenges that lay in wait. It's only natural to feel overwhelmed when adversity strikes, but in those very moments, we are given a chance to summon our inner strength and to prove to ourselves that we can conquer even the most daunting circumstances. Don't be afraid to step on the gas.